Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. We constantly take our vision for granted, right? But what if we actually stopped and looked at the human eye for what it truly is? It's basically nature's ultimate scanner. I mean, it's this absolute biological marvel that flawlessly processes your entire world from the very second you wake up. So today, we're going to explore exactly how this incredible little organ captures, decodes, and files away the entire visual universe around you. Let's start with a little scenario. Picture this. It's pitch black outside, and suddenly you spot a tiny, dim firefly glowing in the dark. Now, that seemingly simple, everyday event, it instantly kicks off a massive, incredibly complex biochemical reaction in your head. Literally the split second that faint light hits your eye, an entire microscopic factory springs into action just to make absolutely sure you comprehend exactly what you're looking at. And to process that one single flicker of a firefly, your eye actually relies on a staggering 261.3 million rod-like cells. 261.3 million. Inside these millions of cells is this specific reddish substance, and when the firefly's dim light hits them, it actually bleaches the color right out of that material. This specific bleaching action is exactly what generates an electrical current. It is literally converting light into electricity right there inside your head. So, this newly created electrical signal, it doesn't just sit there, obviously. It rockets down your optic nerve and into your brain at an astounding 300 miles per hour. Your brain then decodes this high-speed signal to tell you, hey, yep, that's a firefly. And all of this happens so fast, you don't even realize a 300-mile-per-hour data transfer just took place. Wild, right? Moving on to Section 1, the ultimate scanner, eye versus camera. If your eye were introducing itself at a party, it would probably proudly tell you that it's only about the size of a ping pong ball. Yet within that tiny little space, it is simultaneously processing 1.5 million messages from the outside world. In fact, it gathers 80% of everything you will ever learn in your entire lifetime. Your brain relies on the eye to scan faces, mountains, oceans, you name it, creating millions of files to store away for whenever you might need them. And because this equipment is so incredibly priceless, nature placed it in the most secure location possible, perfectly protected by the strong skull bones of your forehead above and your cheeks below. Honestly, if these two lamps were placed anywhere else on our bodies, our lives would be incredibly difficult. And this perfectly illustrates why comparing the eye to a camera is, frankly, kind of laughable. The source material actually points out that the difference between the most expensive, high-tech modern TV camera and the human eye is basically like the difference between a speck of dust and the sun. A camera captures a 1-inch, flat, one-dimensional image on its film. Now, your eye's retina is also just about 1 inch. But when you look at a towering 25-story skyscraper, like the Habib Bank Plaza, for instance, your 1-inch vision center allows you to perceive it in its true, massive, skyscraping scale. You see a mountain as huge as a mountain really is, and it is all being processed on this tiny 1-inch biological screen. Okay, Section 2. From jungles to screens, a pre-programmed marvel. Think about how drastically the human lifestyle has changed. I mean, our ancient ancestors lived out in jungles, requiring far vision just to spot danger and hunt prey from a distance. Then, as civilizations grew, humans moved into houses, started reading and writing, which shifted the demand heavily toward close vision. And today, in the modern era, our eyes are subjected to this constant, unrelenting close-up focus on TVs, computers, and smartphones. But the truly incredible thing noted in the source is that this adaptability was pre-programmed. If our eyes hadn't been designed with this built-in capacity to handle the demands of the past, present, and future, this drastic shift from hunting in the wild to just staring at glowing computer screens all day, it would have literally left the entire human race blind by now. Let's look at Section 3, the mechanics, how we actually see. So, the front of the eye is where the most delicate wiring is located. Step 1. Light first hits the cornea, which is this semi-oval cover. The cornea bends incoming light waves at very specific, calculated angles. Step 2. The light passes right through the pupil. You can think of the pupil like a self-adjusting window. Out in the blazing sun, this window automatically shrinks down to almost completely closed. But in the pitch dark of night, it opens as wide as possible to let in whatever faint light it can find. And finally, step 3, the light reaches the lens, which is where the real magic happens. Just take a second to consider the sheer scale of the lens. It is exactly the size and shape of an oval vitamin pill. That's it. It's filled with fluid, and despite its incredibly tiny size, it is the absolute core of our visual wonders, surrounded by this ring of incredibly strong, microscopic muscles. And these tiny muscles, they tirelessly do the heavy lifting of our daily lives. When you're reading a book or just scrolling on your phone, these muscles contract, altering the lens so you get crystal clear near vision. But then, when you look up to gaze at a distant mountain or watch a bird flying in the sky, these exact same muscles expand, shifting your focus perfectly to the distance. They do this thousands of times a day, seamlessly, without you ever having to even think about it. Now, surrounding this little vitamin-sized lens are two distinct biological fluids. The front section of the eye is filled with a fluid that's perfectly transparent, much like water, and this serves to keep the eye nicely inflated and perfectly shaped. Meanwhile, the back section, right behind the lens, is filled with a thicker, more viscous fluid that perfectly resembles raw egg whites. But the absolutely crucial point here is that both of these fluids are 100% transparent. Nature literally engineered them this way so that as light waves travel through your eye, they hit absolutely zero obstacle. Moving to our final section, Section 4, the mystery of floaters, leftovers of creation. Have you ever stared up at a bright blue sky, or maybe a blank white computer screen, and noticed those tiny web-like shapes swimming across your field of vision? A lot of people think they're looking at bugs or maybe just dust on their eye, but they're actually called floaters, and they are completely harmless cellular leftovers. See, when your eyes were being brilliantly constructed while you were still in your mother's womb, some of the biological building materials were simply left behind. These cellular remnants just stay there, permanently floating around in the outer fluids of your eye. Now, currently, medical science tells us that these floaters don't seem to cause any harm, but they don't seem to have any benefit either. But think about everything we've just covered, from the 300-mile-per-hour electrical storms to the dynamic, auto-adjusting muscles to the flawless, water-clear fluids. Nature's factory is far too precise to just leave trash lying around without a reason, right? It leaves us with a genuinely fascinating question. Since nothing in biology is truly useless, what hidden utility might future experts discover these little remnants actually hold? It's just one more mystery waiting to be solved inside the ultimate scanner. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.